it is time once again to talk about Star Trek Discovery. Two of the people from our crew are away.
They're away. They're on another planet right now.
But this is Jason. I am Kim. We can helm the ship for now. We will see if our crew comes back because this was a cliffhanger episode. This one was called, and please forgive my Latin, it's very bad, CV Possum Parabellum, which translates to, if you want peace, prepare for war, or you must fight, or something along those lines. Again, I don't speak Latin. So this episode was actually almost a direct, I would say, inspiration by an original series episode in which the crew discovers a non-corporeal life force that wants peace. And it ends up a certain way. Maybe we won't talk about that because we're seeing the conclusion of this later. But we see three important characters and no red shirt land on the planet of Pavo.
It's Pavo.
And what they discover is that the planet is making all this ambient noise. It's music, but it's driving Saru insane because he can hear everything at once since he can sense fear with his little feelers.
Ganglia.
Ganglia. That's a better word than feelers. And then it seems like he joins a cult or something because he really gets into the idea of never leaving this planet again.
It was so weird because, okay, so I was watching and I was thinking, okay, why, did I miss something? And I'm sure what you guys were watching too were thinking, why is he so adamant and so intense about this planet, smashing the communicators?
Did you know he could smash a communicator with his bare hands? No more phones.
Yeah, and then it was just the way I've known Saru to be kind of a very gentle, peaceful kind of.
He's the one crew member who's not unstable, and now he's unstable.
Like off the deep end, from 0 to 60 in like no time flat. It was really weird, so we'll get to that. But another thing that was kind of, I guess, great, this being the penultimate episode of the fall season of the show, because they're breaking up into two.
That's right, next week is the fall finale.
Fall finale.
As Jason called it. And I was thinking like it's the end of the first half, blah, blah, blah. So if you have CBS All Access, cancel it for December. You won't need it.
But it was just, okay, so we had the tardigrade, we had all these storylines, and now we've shifted into this. And it felt like it was just, I guess, kind of patchy for me. It was like, wow, okay, so now we're on this new planet. Now we have this new story that's unfolding. It just didn't seem very cohesive in regards to everything else except for the Klingons and the Admiral, which we'll touch on as well.
Yes. Well, I mean, do you want to get over to the Klingons?
You're in the seat.
All right, I'm in the seat this week.
You're in the hot seat.
Sure. So on Pavo, we discover eventually that Saru was lying about what the Pavans had been saying. He communicated to Burnham and Tyler that they could have anything they wanted. They had freedom to do whatever. And for once, Burnham listens to chain of command. However, the command is very crooked and in opposition to what Starfleet stands for. So Tyler sends her to go mess with the massive communicator crystal that they have. And this is something that leads to my idea that Tyler is a spy. And that is, so Saru puts the green jello in Tyler's hand. Right. And he senses like he has bad
juju.
He has bad intentions.
Right.
You know, maybe it's not just what he plans to do on the planet. Maybe it's something he plans to do in the future. So he promptly goes to beat up Burnham, which again is really, I really like Saru, but this episode, it took me to some weird places for him. I do understand the struggle, though. I wish they had shown this episode earlier on in the series so we could end up at the Saru that we have. I kind of feel empathy for his point of view because his idea is, well, when they get back to the planet, or not the planet, the ship, she says, oh, you weren't yourself back there. And he says, no, I was myself because I live in constant fear.
Right.
So if I get a break from that, it's heaven. I want to be there. And then you think about like, if you're always fighting for something or if you're always working hard towards something, if you get a break or a chance to rest or maybe take an easier path, it's so tempting to want to take that path. But then ultimately, if you don't do what your mission initially was, it's going to die. And if it's an important mission, like this one supposedly is, you shouldn't be dropping it.
Well, the thing about Saru that I've seen in these first 8 episodes is that his character is always very well spoken, but also very he's like the sensitive one, I guess. You don't really see a lot of high action with Saru. Everything he's really emotional. Everything is very like dramatic. It's like, how dare you? Oh, I'm so mad at you. He's very he always has an issue with something, right? So
it's usually Burnham.
Right. And well, I mean, he's pretty much trying to kill her in this episode.
You can't take this away from me too.
Right.
Hinting back to the past, she took away what future he laid out for himself.
But the reveal of Saru was good. He said, my fear factor is always at an 8. I'm always entangled in this kind of internal warfare, this internal battle within myself. So just this once, let me just survive and live in this moment. And you're all right though, but that's not the directive of Starfleet. So I really thoroughly enjoyed seeing Saru run. I thought that was great because
his feet are crazy too. He has hooves.
Right.
So it's just like, and he's long and gangly, so that was kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. But I feel like this is going to be a turning point for their relationship because all the times we've seen an interaction between Burnham and Saru, it's always been these really deep, like talks of like, I hate you, you've done this to me, I'm so mad at you. So I feel like this is going to extend that and further that along.
To me, I feel like they have a brother-sister relationship, and I see Saru is like the younger brother who always gets overlooked. I kind of like their dynamic. Again, I feel Burnham is the least consistently or well-written character in the series, which is a shame because she's the lead. So let's talk about the Klingons.
Sure,
I know.
Let's do it.
We talked about this off camera. I kind of like glaze over when it's Klingon time, when I have to see that font with the whatever they're saying at the bottom of the screen. And then like it's like papyrus. I don't know what it is, but it goes away so fast and they talk so slow. And then I kind of fall off board when it's happening too, because I just hate how slow they talk and how there's a lack of inflection and emotion. And I know this series is, well, Jackie has mentioned this before, where we're supposed to look at like the Voq path and the Burnham path as being sort of parallel, but I don't view them as equal.
I don't either, and it's because
I have no empathy
at all, and because from a technical standpoint of the writing and how we view the Klingons on this show, it's just not. Listen, when you watch a TV show, regardless of if you are a Trekkie or if you have an embedded love or history and affinity for the franchise, if it's terribly written and terribly executed, it's just that, terribly written and terribly executed. And Kim, I had made a comment last week that when the Klingons come on, I go on Instagram. It's just for that particular reason. But I will say that this week, L'Rell and the Admiral's exchange was kind of cool because you saw, she says, scream, scream. So excuse me, so she finally screams and then she's like, good, we fooled them. Now the guard's gone, so now we can talk about what I need to use you for. So you kind of saw L'Rell trying to have an alliance with the Admiral, but I don't know, and we had off camera, we were talking.
We couldn't tell if it was genuine.
At all.
No, but I guess I think L'Rell is the most interesting Klingon, because we're not really clear of what she wants to do. She has different motives. She seems to care about people, i.e. her brothers and her clansmen who are just from the House of Secrets and Lies, I don't know. But she has kind of a richer story, I think, than the rest of them. But then we don't understand if she was being genuine or if she has any amount of emotion for Admiral Cornwell. I liked their dynamic, actually.
I did too.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, we finally have something that is cohesive and gels well in a storyline with the Klingons, and now with this. I mean, they captured her. I love Jane Brooks. She's an amazing actress, so it was just great to see that. But then, did L'Rell kill her? Did L'Rell, because L'Rell they try to escape.
I don't know.
Tell the story. So what was
We don't know if she's alive. I mean, she seemed to be stepping over her. She was very ginger. We had a long shot on her. I think the Admiral is still alive, but It's not exactly clear, and perhaps that's on purpose.
And I thought if they're going to have this character on the series for a short period of time, it was a waste because she really didn't do anything that was kind of poignant in the show except sleep with Lorca.
Yeah, I mean that's like the other security officer that got killed pointlessly by the tardigrade early on, who we're supposed to care like, oh, it's Game of Thrones, anyone can die, but also we don't know who this person is, and we don't really care. She may as well be a red shirt for all we know.
Sure. And Laurel's discovery of her her other fellow officers, was that her brother that she found that she says, I'm going to avenge your death?
I have another theory on
What's
that,
the theory?
which is when she was talking about her brother or one that was long gone or long lost. I think that's Tyler. I'm still standing by my theory that Tyler is a spy and possibly a Klingon.
And he's cloaked.
Yeah, because also his relationship with Burnham is moving fast. It is on the fast track.
It is, Kim.
And I'm waiting for them to queue up for curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. You know, maybe next episode, maybe at the end of the season, but something, I don't believe it. I don't believe this is a genuine relationship.
And what's really crappy about that, Kim, is that, again, in this episode, they had two really great exchanges of talking about the fishing and the lake house and her saying, well, you'll go back to your lake house. I'm a prisoner for life. And just all these, and the way he says, well, let's just drag this mission out as long as possible.
That is not, okay, I'm so glad you reminded me of that. That is not a Starfleet credo. That is in the face. They completely, I guess they butchered it, but there's this long-standing, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And he's just like, no, it doesn't. If you were any kind of Starfleet officer, there's no way you would say that. He's weird, he's fishy, and not in the lake way.
Yeah, not in the fried trout way. But the thing about plot devices like having someone be a spy and then, surprise, I'm a spy, kill everyone. There's a way to do that. There's a way to do that. And audiences love when that happens because you're like, let's say me and you are on a show, Kim.
We need to be fooled too.
Right, and I'm not, I see your theory. I personally don't think, sure, Tyler could be a spy. Why not? But I hope that their relationship dynamic and the writing of their time together gets a lot better because this episode for me, like I said, was patchy. It was just like, all right, like it was awkward. It wasn't the same magic we had when they were having the first date in the cafeteria. That's what I kind of want more of, just within Tyler and Ash.
I don't think.
I'm sorry,
Ash and
Burnham.
Yes.
Sorry, Tyler and Ash, same person to me.
Same guy.
Same guy.
Well, you know, they're both first names. So, yeah, I don't think this was a bad episode, but it just came on the heels of last week's, and that was the best episode, at least in my point of view.
I agree.
Okay, in our point of view. So I thought it was all right. I think they were handling previously established Star Trek concepts in kind of a weird way. I appreciate an homage, but just the fact that it's something nostalgic doesn't necessarily mean this is something that's good. You do need to handle it moment to moment, scene to scene, line to line even. And I don't know if it was all there. I do appreciate some of the concepts, like the core concept of if you want peace, you must prepare for war. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. It's just they're playing with these adages, somewhat successfully and somewhat not successfully.
Lorca had the best one, you know, I understand you want to mourn, but now's not the time. You know, when the Klingons took out the other ship. Stamets was definitely another great, Stamets is just, he gets an honorable mention every week, you guys, because he's just always
Did he only have one scene?
2 scenes, I think. With Tilly, and Tilly was asking him about, you know, hey man, you need to go see a medic, but I don't want to do that because I'll have to go see my partner, Cuthbert. Or Colbert, sorry.
He's gonna get in trouble.
Or I'll get in trouble and be gone. Any way you cut it, he gets hurt. And I love that because Stamets, for all his scientific wonder, he's deeply emotional and he's deeply connected to this person. I'm glad if we want to touch on the LGBTQ plus theme or element of Star Trek Discovery, I think they're handling that right. So whoever's in the writer's room is getting that at least on point because it's believable, it's poignant, it's relatable. It's not hokey or another plot device or another way to have us be like, oh, great, they're diverse, they're using diversity, but they're just throwing it there and letting us do what we want with it. There's some buoyancy with that.
That does make sense, though, because it seems that he and Tyler both wanted to continue the status quo for whatever reason. Stamets' reason is, no matter what I do, no matter what fork I take in the road, it's going to be bad for this person I love. Tyler basically said, let's continue this war forever so you don't have to go back to prison. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So that's the wrong way to do it. Maybe they were set up as, again, maybe parallels or micro parallels, at least in this episode. He also refers to, and I mean Stamets refers to Tilly as Captain. Is it because he thought she was Lorca, or maybe he saw into the future with his temporal nature?
Right, you never know, because he comes out of the room he was in.
The Jesus room.
Yeah, I wasn't called a booth, but I mean, there's no booths really on the Enterprise or any ship in Starfleet, and he didn't know where he was. He know who was who. So that could be foreshadowing.
Maybe.
I mean, if you want to be brutally honest, I don't see Tilly as a captain ever.
Well, maybe one day.
One day, you know what? Let's be positive.
Years.
You know what? Hashtag Tilly for captain.
Hashtag no, not that ever. You vote with your choice. I did appreciate that part. I think Lorca continues to be the most fascinating character for me, and he wasn't really in this episode as much. We'll probably see him more because, as I mentioned, we ended on a cliffhanger, which means next week we'll find out because now the Klingons are gonna come over to Pavo because they, instead of, well,
the alien life form wants to bring people together, right? But instead it's bringing the wrong people together. It's sending out, the beacon it's sending out is doing exactly what Starfleet doesn't want it to do.
See, again, that's another thing that makes me think Tyler has bad motives, because we also didn't mention he traveled through the Pavans, who, by the way, look distractingly like the spores from the spore drive to me. So I keep thinking, oh no, the spores, but that's not what that is. And you know, it seems like they got that idea after he was off camera and appeared traveling through them at one point. Or, you know, maybe that would be a good way to not blow his cover with Starfleet and yet continue this war, which he seems to be very interested in doing. That's my theories again. It's not really.
They're not far-fetched. They're not far-fetched, though, Kim. They're not, because if you think about it, what better way? Like Jackie and you guys have said previously, Trojan horse. Why not get it? It's like if you want to destroy an iPhone, water in it. It's like rust, right? It corrodes from the inside out. Same thing with this. If Ash is indeed that evil, sinister person that's deep within, then it'll implode. So your theories aren't that far off at all, And
I know, but this is Star Trek Reviews, not Kim's theories hour.
But I'm sure some of you guys watching now also feel the same way. You say that Lorca. The problem that I have with the show sometimes, though, is because it's hard to give equal parts to everything. You know, it's hard to give equal writing, and they're trying to do so much in such little time that with subject matter as space and treason and spies and all these things, it's hard to really give you like a great compelling story without stealing from something else. Lorca, for me, he's not my favorite character at all. I don't think anything he does is like super eye-opening or super shocking. And in addition to, Stamets may not do things that are super eye-opening or super shocking either, but his delivery and what he stands for and the content they give him is compelling. And I think that's where they're getting it right. So if anything, I feel like Stamets is the all-star, the MVP of this first season. For real, because it's definitely not Burnham.
I like him too.
It's definitely not Burnham.
My favorites are Stamets, Saru, and Lorca.
Yeah.
But we probably have different orders for where we would put them. So we're gonna find out next week as the inevitable happens. Klingons are coming to Pavo.
Oh, yay.
Starfleet is at Pavo.
Oh.
The Pavans are still there. Will they help at all? We don't know, but we will find out next week when our away team returns and we discuss the fall finale of Star Trek Discovery. See ya.